In 1750, burglars broke into the Qing Dynasty's treasury and stole many jade artifacts and curiosities. The investigating officials arrested the officials in charge of guarding the treasury and interrogated them one by one. Among them was a man called Chang Ming. When he was being interrogated, he suddenly said in the tone of a child, "Chang Ming didn't steal the jade and curiosities. But he was definitely the one who murdered people. And I am the innocent soul who was killed by him." The officials interrogating the case were shocked when they heard this. Because this case involved murder, Chang Ming was then transferred to the Ministry of Justice. At that time, my father, Xiaolan, was a judge in Guangxi Province. Tried the case together with Mr. Yu Wenyi, the Minister of Justice, and several others. During the interrogation of Chang Ming, the wrong spirit that possessed Chang Ming said, "My name is Erger. I am 14 years old this year. And I live in Haidian. My father's name is Li Xingwang. Last year during the Lantern Festival, Chang Ming took me to see the Lantern Festival. When we came back, it was already late at night. Chang Ming tried to insult me. I strove to resist, and said I would tell my father about it when I got home. In a rage, Chang Ming strangled me to death with his belt and buried my body under the riverbank. After I was missing, my father suspected that Chang Ming had hidden me. So he went to the city inspector to file a complaint. Later, the case was transferred to the Ministry of Justice, which believed that there was insufficient evidence to prove Chang Ming's guilt. After discussion, they decided to look for another suspected culprit. So the case was put on hold temporarily. From then on, my soul always followed Chang Ming. But once I was about 5 feet away from him, I felt that he was like a burning fire. So I dared not to get too close to him. Later, the temperature from his body gradually weakened, and I was able to get closer to him, foot by foot. Until yesterday when I no longer felt hot, and my soul was able to possess his body. The soul of Erger continued. In fact, during the first interrogation, my soul had already followed him to the Ministry of Justice. I still remember clearly that the department handling this case was the Guangxi Department. Later, based on the date provided by Erger's soul, the original case file was found in the Guangxi Department. When inquired about the exact location of the burial, the soul of Erger said, "Under a certain willow tree on the river bank." Afterwards, Erger's body was indeed exhumed. When Erger's father Li Xingwang was summoned to identify the body, as soon as he saw Erger's body, he burst into tears, wailed and said, "My son, you died tragically." Although this case seemed to be unreal and illusory, it had been verified that there were some true plots. When the murderer Chang Ming was being interrogated, if his name was called, he would respond as if waking from a dream and would speak in his own tone. If Erger's name was called, he would be drowsy and answer in Erger's voice. After several rounds of interrogation and confrontation, Chang Ming finally pleaded guilty. In the trial hall, the chief judge let Li Xinguang and his son recount their daily lives. Erger could speak clearly and logically. Hence, the case was then clear without any doubt. The presiding judge then reported the facts of the case in detail, and the approval was quickly issued, sentencing Chang Ming to intentional homicide, and executing him by beheading according to the law. On the day the verdict was handed down, Erger's soul was extremely happy. During his lifetime, he often helped his father sell cakes to make a living. At this moment he suddenly shouted loudly, "Here comes the cake seller!" On hearing that, his father burst into tears and said, "I haven't heard his shouting voice for a long time. This voice is exactly the same as when he was alive." He then asked, "My son, where are you going from now on?" The soul of Erger replied, "I don't know that either. Let's just move on." From then on, when Chang Ming was interrogated again, Erger's voice never appeared again.